Hey guys, welcome to a Goku of Light One Piece theory. And so I had already did this theory to be honest, but I'm gonna have to delete it basically, or if you're watching this video, I've already deleted it. And pretty much, I was going over some stuff with my buddy Princeton, and he was telling me, that if I have anything that's possibly third-party content or even, disputable, that I should just delete it because in the long run, it's just gonna hurt my channel. And obviously I believe him. He's a pretty knowledgeable guy when it comes to the community and making channels and making YouTube videos. And I look to be part of the One Piece community for a while and the anime reviewing community in general. So instead of hurting myself and having videos that could take my channel down in the long run, I decided just to delete them now and redo this video myself. In the future, when I have more time, I'll look to make more videos with the slideshows and, in my opinion, a better presentation. But just basically because I like this theory and I don't really want it to not be on my channel. I'm just gonna do it myself here, explain it to you guys the best I can, go with you step by step, basically close to I did in the video that I made prior, and maybe if anything you might understand it a little bit better from me explaining it here word for word. So anyways, let's get right into it. Today's video will be about my manifested Haki theory. And just note this, that I'm just using the name Manifested Haki because I don't really have a better name for it, and to me it's a fitting name for the scenario that I'm kind of explaining. So we're just going to go with Manifested Haki for today. Alright, so today I'm going to give you guys just one of my theories on how I believe we have characters in One Piece universe with just top tier powers, but no clear explanation where the power comes from. We don't have no idea. We just see this godlike power. So the first clear example of this, when I was doing my research, don't get me wrong, there could be other examples, but just going from step to step of what I was trying to put together, a clear example of this is when Zoro is fighting Kaku, the guy from CP9 that becomes, the giraffe guy with the big ass neck or whatever. And we see him in a bad situation. With his back on the wall, let's refer to the words he's pledged about never dying, and he's never going to lose another battle again, and all this other stuff that happened with Mihawk. Now, from there, we see something that just doesn't fit with the One Piece power scale. Zoro starts to basically telling Kaku that he doesn't know what he's doing. He's basically pushing Zoro to a corner kind of thing, and that he needs to back up because Kaku's just acting really cocky and basically acting like he has the fight won. Zoro basically had enough of his shit. Decides to show him his ace. And in my opinion, this is our first example of manifested Haki, because I felt like Kaku really had Zoro, by the neck. He really had him, and if he didn't pull his ace out, I felt like Kaku was most likely going to win, if not for sure. He really had Zoro on the ropes. And I don't want to just count Zoro out and say that he couldn't have pulled something else out, but wasn't looking good for my boy. And so, let's say this. right at the point where Zoro is basically pinned, he uses what I would say manifested Haki, summons the demon Asura from inside of him, becoming a living demon of a sort, basically for a moment. Because as you can see if you look at any pictures, if you go look them up, anything like that, or if you remember reading the manga, seeing the anime, or whatever, he has 3 heads, one right here, 2 on each side, and he has 6 arms. 2 coming out right here and 2 below as well, having 9 swords to swing in total. And I believe this is manifested Haki, and I also believe this is connected to his cursed sword, which is another thing. But anyways, talk about that another time. Now, you may think this isn't a big deal, but I'll connect the dots soon. The best I can at least. So moving forward to Sanji. Sanji's kind of a big mystery. You only get really tidbits of him, so I mean, you can put the best theory you can together, but the most of it is just we're gonna know his cookie, and his a little bit of about him, why he can do kicks and things like that, but not too much. But we'll put it together as we go. So, it's always a thing too, where like I read many theories of basically people knocking Sanji, putting Zoro like way up here and Sanji down here. I think a lot of that is just biased opinion. In my opinion, they're pretty equal for different reasons. if you were just looking at physical strength, then yeah, Zoro is probably stronger, but Sanji one-ups Zoro in many, many ways. So, I mean, the physical strength, yeah, balances the scale out, but I don't think you can just knock Sanji, and that's just my opinion, but I think Sanji's a real big, important component of the big three when it comes to One Piece. And so, moving forward, um, as the story continues, we see, you know, and this is one thing too. I think as the story goes on, we're gonna see Sanji get stronger. We already are about to see Zoro get another power boost going to Wano Kingdom and whatever else happens here. We can already expect a lot to come from that. That being said, I think in the near future, Sanji will get more. Whether it's during the Big Mom thing, something crazy happens, or he gets some story, some backstory with him in North Blue. Who knows? Some Sanji related that will happen before the end of the year. Call him that. And so at the current timeline that we have going on, I know of basically three moves I can name off the top of my head that Sanji's used. He's used the Blue Walk and Skywalk, basically same thing. One's underwater, one's in the air, and he's used Hell's Memories, something like that. And I don't think it's just coincidence that they're similar to the what's it called, Rukushiki technique or something like that. I don't know how to say it. Excuse me, but it's the CP9 techniques that they use that the Marines are taught. So, I think there's logic behind where Sanji learned these moves and how all that kind of goes about. Now, if you remember when Luffy was training, he was training on Amazon Lily. Amazon Lily had these strong warriors that basically had physical strength. And they were not every single one, but a lot of them could use Haki, and it wasn't even like because they were super trained in the ways of Haki or they knew much about it. It was just because they were strongly willed warriors. They were independent. They were, on their own. They're women. They're Amazons. Of course, they have strong will. It makes sense. So, that being said, um, the when I started looking up, everything I could about Sanji, when I started trying to figure out, you know, what what has happened here. I basically came across Momoro Island. Momoro Island, I believe that's how you say it. I could be saying it wrong. And basically, it has to do with all the I don't know the best way to say it, so I'm just gonna keep it real with all the trainees, the transgender characters in the show. The 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 ones that we met earlier in the show, basically that have their own physical strength and their own fighting style, Nukama Kenpo. Yeah, and, so this is why I believe Sanji came here, and he was received a challenge. Um, I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy from the Revolutionary Army, crossdresser. He gave Sanji a challenge, and basically told him that he had to defeat 99 Kenpo masters to receive 99 recipes. We seen one of them, which was the sea pork, and it gave him a great power boost. I remember he got the power boost from that. And so, I mean, that's just one recipe. And I believe that the recipes could be real similar to, like, Rock Lee's gates, how he opens them to release more power. I believe the more recipes they eat, it overall gives them more power, unlocking different gates, except that the gates aren't going to reclose, and it's not going to have physical damage on his body. It's not the exact same as Rock Lee, but just kind of an idea. And if you remember too, they refer to him as the leg of the devil. And we also know who is else referred to as the devils. Now, this could mean two things. It could either A, be foreshadowing for, I don't know, what I would call Sanji possibly being a D, which I don't think is likely, which I believe is more likely is he has the power of a D, which the power of a D has something to do with his Haki, manifested Haki, which I believe you can only get from a couple different things, either A, being a D, or being closely connected to the Ds. And so, before I close into the last part of my theory, I believe why Zoro and Sanji have such great power is because they've been with Luffy since the very beginning, and I believe that the people that have the will of the D have almost this radiation effect where they're just the people around them are basically feeding off of their will. Not to say that they're not strong-willed themselves, but I believe he gives them that reassurance or that extra boost, kind of thing. So that's where that goes. I think that's why they're called the big three in a sense. It's because Luffy is that pillar, that makes the other two stronger. It's always been, thrown out there that it's not his physical strength or his smarts or his abilities. It's that he brings everybody together and he makes everybody around him stronger. That he can turn his enemies into his allies. And I believe that, is a clue towards the fact that he has this power boost and he makes the people around him stronger. Now, that being said, closing in the last part of my theory, how I necessarily think this works is that, say for example, Goldie Roger, he's an inherited will. He couldn't fulfill his dreams, but set in motion the destiny of age, and using Shanks had dreams of his people passed on to the most worthy D. You know what I'm saying? And so he was already connected to the D's no matter what. Shanks was with Goldie Rogers as he was just a little kid. And so he already had that radiation or that glow to him. And he was the most worthy of Goldie Rogers, pirates. There's on a ship like that you have two kinds of pirates. You have the ones that are with Goldie as his first mates and everything like that are pretty much going to die when he dies or go out with his generation. And then you have the little kids that are going to live on to the next generation, which is Shanks and Bugsy. And I believe that's why they have such a big impact on what's happening now, is because of Goldie Roger. And I believe that when Shanks entered the new world, before entering the new world, when he met Luffy and everything that happened right there, that he basically wasn't able to shrug off Luffy, and that's when he realized that Luffy was something special. He was a D, gave him the hat, he felt that connection. Obviously, there's a lot more to it, but I don't want to make this video go too long. So I'm trying to wrap up this theory. And in closing, we can see that we have Sanji with unexplained techniques, which I believe he got from this other island, learning their training. He's using manifested Haki. Basically, manifested Haki is a combination of somebody's will and their Haki. Combination of will and Haki is manifested Haki. And basically, based on the person or the scenario, it's a little bit more specific to them, almost similar to like if you've ever seen Hunter x Hunter, how they have the Nen circle. I believe it's similar to that. It's real specific to them, who they are, because their will molds and shapes what their Haki becomes, if you get what I'm saying. And, in the last part of this, to kind of close it up, and to me, what really sealed it for me, and you might think that this is, but they have a game called Pirate Warriors 3. It just came out in Japan, I believe, and it has, there's screenshots all over. I'll be sure to link one below. It has Shanks in it, and in the game, he has red Haki ability, red lightning Haki, basically, and he also has the ability to slow time. Now, in a general perspective, it might be like, and you don't even think that this is canon, but there's no deny. Nobody said it isn't canon either, so it's 50-50 on that. And I believe that when you conquer's Haki is at a certain level, it gets to the level where he can almost command the heavens. In itself, he can command the weather, and I believe this would explain a little bit more of Dragon's powers and why he has an effect on the weather, because he could be a Logia and still have Conqueror's Haki, or not Logia, excuse me. He could be a Zoan, like a dragon Zoan or whatever he would want to be, and still have effect on the weather with his Haki. And we know it's possible for D users and Logia users and probably even Haki users to affect the weather. We've seen Ace do it. So on top of that, going back into Shanks for one moment, Shanks has the ability to slow time down, and he can use lightning Haki. That's what this poster at least shows us, and that's what the game shows us. Now, in the actual series of manga, we don't know if this is true, but we do know that Shanks has been shown to be very OP, most likely does not have a devil fruit, and only has one arm. So, and we haven't seen Conqueror's Haki used for anything besides taking out the small fries. So this, in my opinion, makes the most sense, that he can, basically manipulate time or a small amount of space around him using his Conqueror's Haki. It's not necessarily, time travel or slowing down time. It's more of controlling or completely conquering the space that he is around. Similar to like Law using his spears, but he can do it to a whole domain or a whole area using his Haki based on, his environment or his will to a degree. And so, in conclusion, I think that Zoro, Sanji, and Shanks all have these abilities. They show them in different situations, but as well as these have the abilities and it affects others. So that being said, if you think this is a good theory, let me know. Comment below. Be sure to tell me if you think manifested Haki is a real thing, or if it's at least closely possible to what I just said. Or if you don't like this theory, be sure to give me a thumbs down. Comment below and tell me this is a stupid theory. Let me know that I can do better, and that you just really didn't like this one. This one didn't hit home for you. And yeah, in general, I know this has been a longer theory than most, 16 minutes. So if you hung in there the entire time and watched the entire theory, thank you. This has been Goku of Light, and you guys have a great day.